Over the river and through the woods is fine, but what happens when the water turns into this? Let's find out. Winter with a vengeance. No one likes traveling in conditions like these. Today it's a whopping 5 degrees Fahrenheit and the wind is whipping snow across the landscape at upwards of 45 miles an hour. Combine this with ice-covered roads and you have the makings of a dangerous trip. The only way things could get any worse is if you get stranded. Anyone who spends time outdoors in the winter, whether for work or recreation, knows that conditions can worsen at any time. Dropping temperatures and increasing wind speeds can hasten the onset of frostbite and hypothermia. Okay, here's a few notes on frostbite while we're outside. We're standing in the proving ground. I am underneath the protection of a tree. This is one cedar tree, so I'm shielded a little bit from the 15-mile-an-hour winds. The ambient temperature is currently 1 degree below zero. That's Fahrenheit, kids. So, yeah, it's pretty cold out here. Now, the way wind chill works, the wind moving across the surface, the exposed surfaces of the body, will cool it quicker to the ambient temperature. Your body generates heat. That's why we can go out in 22, 15-degree weather and we don't freeze solid. Your body generates heat. But when wind blows across exposed surfaces of it, it helps pull our body temperature, our surface temperature, down to the ambient air temperature. And 1 degree below zero is pretty dang cold. Now, wind chill will never bring anything below that ambient temperature. If you've got, say, an air temperature of 35 degrees and the wind chill is 15 degrees, the water won't freeze. It'll get to the air temperature a whole lot quicker, but it won't freeze. Now, what pushes frostbite along for the human body is its natural defense mechanism against cold. Your body will constrict blood flow to the extremities, pulls the blood flow in to protect the core, and that keeps your internal organs warm and everything working. But the already restricted blood flow starts getting hampered by the formation of ice crystals in the skin cells, and that stops delivery of oxygen and nutrients to the tissues. And of course, the longer this condition persists, the greater the damage is going to be. Let's talk about this a little bit more in a little bit warmer place, shall we?
Okay. Once you get stuck, one of the first things you're going to have to assess is it safe to leave the vehicle? You want to make sure you can get out and check out your situation without getting schmuckered by another vehicle or a snowplow. First thing you want to check when you get out is your tailpipe clear? Because when the engine's running, if the tailpipe is covered, you're going to start developing carbon monoxide inside the vehicle. Another reason you're not going to want to sit with the engine running for warmth is because eventually, when help does come and everything starts moving, you want to have fuel to be able to move along with it. Now, once the engine is off, heat is going to bleed from the vehicle very quickly. Now, there's a little baffling in the structure of the vehicle, mostly for sound dampening purposes, but largely vehicles are not insulated. Wind chill, as we've already discussed, doesn't affect inanimate objects. So you're protected from the 27 degrees below zero wind chill inside the vehicle, but 5 degrees is still 5 degrees.
All right. To make your stay in a vehicle a little bit more bearable and the possibility of getting out of trouble a little easier, you always want to carry a shovel. Now, I go a little overboard because I always keep a grain shovel around, simply because I've got several places that I need to keep shoveled out over the course of the winter. But they do make several small collapsible shovels that are available and easy to stow in the back of your vehicle. Another thing we're going to take a look at is a quick vehicle emergency kit. Let's go inside where it's warm and take a look what all I've got in here.
Okay, now that we're in out of the weather, we can talk a little bit about what it was doing to us while we were out there. Now, like we mentioned before, frostbite sets in quickly with a high wind chill. As a matter of fact, in wind chills of 18 degrees below zero or less, frostbite can set in 10 to 15 minutes. Now, that being said, like we said before, wind draws heat from the body. It makes the exposed parts of the body dangerously cold, and then things start to freeze. That's why it's best when you get into a situation where you're stranded, seek shelter in your vehicle. It might be cold, it might be 1 degree below zero, but the vehicle will protect you from the wind chill, because wind chill cannot lower the temperatures of objects below the ambient air temperature. Now, I was a little incorrect in my assessment a few minutes ago when we were out there. It was indeed 1 degree below zero, but the wind was gently wafting across the landscape at 25 miles per hour. Now, the equation for wind chill is a little complicated. It looks a little bit like this. But if we plug in all of the variables, the wind speed, the temperature, that means that, with a little quick ciphering here, and tap this in, ooh, we had a wind chill of approximately 25.4 degrees below zero. It makes me hurt just thinking about it. Now, when I came in from doing that short couple-minute segment, my hands were already starting to get really numb and sore. And I was wearing gloves with 40 grams of Thinsulate. Clothing is necessary to help protect us from frostbite. It's by no means complete protection. You can get frostbitten if you're wearing heavy gloves. You can get frostbitten if you're wearing wool socks with Thinsulate boots. The best thing to do is layer your clothing, wear good boots, good gloves, headgear, especially something that can protect the face, because your extremities, your face, earlobes, things like that, that's where you're going to lose heat from the most. Now, that being said, the wind is going to get you. There's no way around that unless you're inside. The only complete protection from frostbite is shelter. Now, the problem is, you're in that vehicle, 1 degree below zero is still 1 degree below zero. Another thing to consider is how long it's going to take for rescue to get to you. Okay, if you're stranded on an interstate among several other vehicles that are stranded along with you, chances are somebody already knows that there's a problem and help is trying to make its way to you. Conditions, of course, are going to make that a whole lot longer if it's really bad outside. If you're stranded on a side street or a mountain road somewhere, it's a little bit more iffy. Now, in this day and age, we're used to just pulling out our cell phones, making a quick call, and fixing everything right then and there. But occasionally, there are times you're going to get into situations where the microwave towers just don't reach you. Now, while you're waiting for help, a simple supply of inexpensive items can help make things a little bit more bearable. Now, earlier I showed you this little black box. This is an ammo box. It's plastic. It has a gasket around the lid. It makes it water resistant. It's a little hard to see. Light's bad here. These can be had for around about 10 bucks at the average sporting goods store. Inside of it is a few items that we threw together to make things a little bit more survivable in a situation like this. Bandanas. These are awesome. If you need to go outside, you need extra head covering, you need to wrap something around your ears. If, heaven forbid, you need a large band-aid, these are good for that. Plus, always keep a brightly colored one around, because like we mentioned earlier, you want something that's going to contrast against the snow to tie onto your radio antenna as a flag. If snow is building up quick, you don't know if the vehicle is going to get buried or not. That'll help you out a great deal. Flashlight, obviously. When is it not handy to have a flashlight around? Small first aid kit. These are inexpensive. They carry little bitty things like Band-Aids, antiseptic cream, things like that. Now, every good science wonk, mechanic, whatever, has a good multi-tool on them just about at all times. I like to keep an extra one in this kit just in case because, well, quite frankly, I'm not always driving the vehicle. Hand warmer packets. These can be had at just about every store on the planet. Hardware stores, even grocery stores sometimes sell these things. They're very handy to have around. They have a long shelf life. They do expire, so you want to check through your kit occasionally, make sure that nothing's gone off in it, including these guys. The ones I have right here are good until early 2018, so we've got a little time. They're easy, they're simple. Kids can use them with a little adult supervision. You just expose them to air, shake them a little bit, and they warm up. Emergency ponchos. These are great in case it's raining, but they're also great in case you need to cover something up. You need a little extra protection. Freezing drizzle is falling along with the snow. You never know. Emergency blankets. These things are awesome. These are very space-aged products. They're foil mylar, reflect every ounce of heat back at you. Crack and shake light sticks, also good when you don't want to ruin the batteries of your flashlight or if the batteries are going out. Plus, if you've got kids in the car and they start getting bored, these are great entertainment. Hand sanitizer, because once again, first aid. And, of course, I've included a little kit in mine. This is a simple tin can. I've punched vent holes around the top and the bottom of this. Now, emergency candles are great. They'll burn for about 8 to 10 hours. Now, the amount of BTUs you can get out of these is negligible compared to a space heater. But in the closed confines of a vehicle, a candle flame can reach 1400 degrees. Now, that heat dissipates really quickly, not too far away from the candle, but in a closed area, this could mean all the difference between completely freezing and being semi-comfortable. If you put it in a can, it gives you a little bit of extra protection, and then set it down on, say, the dashboard, center console, whatever. Not only will it protect the interior of the vehicle from melting wax, but it'll also, as the candle burns down, it'll start warming up the metal of the can, and it'll act as a little radiant heater. When it gets down low enough, keep the lid, put the lid back down on top of this thing. It's radiating heat from all sides. Plus, it also protects it from wind in case you have to open the door, crack the window, whatever. Now, another implement to think about keeping around is an emergency whistle. Pick this up for a few bucks. You know, it's not bad. If you're off of the road, you're in an embankment, you're buried in snow, whatever, rescue could be just a few feet away and they won't hear you. With one of these, they will. This one happens to be equipped with a compass. Don't let the compass lure you into a false sense of security. If it's whiteout conditions and you start walking away from your vehicle, if you didn't take a compass bearing, it still doesn't matter. You might be walking in circles. Plus, this one has a handy-dandy thermometer on the back to tell you just how boned you really are. Now, all of this fits neatly into the box, along with another couple of little additives that I like to keep along myself, such as a small container of emergency cash, because you never know. Might need gas, might need to pay a tow truck. No such thing as a free lunch. And also, you want to pack a few things like energy bars. Once again, something that doesn't expire very quickly, but something that'll provide some calories just in case you need it while you're out during your little adventure. Everything packs up nice and neat inside the box. Close it up, tuck it away in the back of the vehicle. Now, we also mentioned keeping around a small shovel in case you have to dig the wheels out, excavate the tailpipe. It's also a good idea to keep a few fleece blankets in the car as well. The Mylar blankets are nice, but they will get a little cold to the touch on the outside. Now, above all else, one of the most important things to remember to prepare for any emergency doesn't fit inside this box. To borrow from the pilot's vernacular, file a flight plan. Tell family, tell friends where you're going, how long it's going to take to get there, and when you're planning on being back. That way, if you don't show up at either point of the trip, maybe someone will get worried and send the dogs out for you. It could mean the difference between being stuck for hours and having someone come roll up to rescue you while you're trying to dig your vehicle out of the rut because, well, Lord knows what happened. Be safe, take care, and we'll see you again afield.